When women see men below a certain value line, they don't actually see them.
And he's a prime example of what I said. It was like I said, my guy friends have told me that if there's an emotional connection, the sex is that much better.
Okay, agreed. And at the same time, you having strong feelings for one woman, you can still have sex with another woman and it doesn't affect your relationship.
Yeah, but I can also have strong feelings for more than one woman.
That's my point. This is the point I was trying to make, is that the contextual level, like you think you're both saying the same thing, but you're not. There is a way for him to completely decontextualize his feelings for one.
I've seen it. Like I've seen him be with girls that he had a strong feelings for, and I watched him hook up with other girls during and feel nothing towards them.
And then come back to you and be like, man, I'm still really thinking about that first girl.
There's one girl in particular that I know that he will always feel strongly for, but just because he hooks up with other girls, it doesn't make him feel any better.
I can totally align with this. This is absolutely, perhaps like a guy who's going through a breakup, sleeps with a bunch of girls and still thinking about his ex.
Yeah.
For sure. But the point I'm trying to make is like men can totally decontextualize sex.
Oh yeah, well I've known that.
Totally. The ultimate example of decontextualized sex is there is nothing more decontextualized than that. There is no context to pornography. You just watch it. You don't know these people. And a lot of times you don't even understand the language they're speaking. And then you can watch that. So I think that's what makes a difference between men and women.
You know what's so interesting about that? Actually, as you said that, I thought about this. That might be why girls on OnlyFans and cam girls are so successful and do so well. It's because they're building that relationship with each of the
for men who don't have it. No, what I will tell you this, the visual aspect of sex and the female anatomy is attractive to men. That we've all known that. And that's not something new. We can go back and look at images that the Greeks and the Romans were using, like the Egyptians. So we know that to be the case. But the difference, I think what you're saying before, is that pornography, studio or what you see on the websites or whatever, was so decontextualized that there was a space for contextualized sex, and that's where OnlyFans came in, because the illusion of a relationship, like what she talked about before, the girlfriend experience, is something that a lot of guys wanted, right? And it's really hard. Like for a guy who's doing really well with women, it's very hard to conceptualize that. But I have so many clients that started off not doing very well with women, and then I started to understand where that whole thing came from, like the necessity, in addition for sexual validation, the addition to have someone like genuinely want to be with you. Bilzerian, one of my favorite quotes he ever had was like, I wish I could pay prostitutes. He goes, I wish I could pay women for sex, but I need them to really want to be with me in order for me to get turned on and have sex with them. And a lot of guys want that and don't get that.
I feel the same way. That's what I crave. That's what I want.
Do you have any guys who are guy friends who are really wealthy, who women sleep with them and they know contextually it's because of the money, and they actually get sick of it and maybe are jealous of you?
100%.
Yeah. Can you go into that? That's something I've experienced too. Can you go into that?
Well, a lot of guys will that I know, like I have friends that have really, really long money, right?
Yeah.
And they know that they're taking care of these girls that in theory probably wouldn't have much interest together if they weren't being taken care of, like rent paid, car bought, whatever. And the guy's like, I really just want to find a way to break through this financial barrier and get into like the feelings of a relationship. Yeah. And no, like me and him will talk. There's one guy in particular, and he go like, obviously she is only in this situation, for other motive. I make her life better, and by her life being better, she wants to keep that going. He's like, I wish there was a way I can break through that and just get this like connection.
Yeah, it's so weird because there's another part to this that's very confusing that I try to explain to men because they don't grasp this. And that is, there are some women, not most, but there are some women who are actually physiologically stimulated by money, right? Like their vaginas actually get wet because of money. Now, most girls, what they'll do is they'll go to the strip club like, ooh, this guy's touching me. I'm going to get really drunk and tolerate this for a couple hours. Then I'm going to go home with this stack and I'm good. That's how most of them are. But there's a few girls that are just like, this man has money and now I'm more turned on because he has money. And there's a few girls that are like that. I'm not going to call them out here, but people that we know that are like that. They're actually like, men are more attractive to them because they have money. So I had a friend of mine, and he is outrageously wealthy. And it's one of these situations where he has a lot of good things going for him, but the women who try the hardest to be with him are with him because of his money. And it makes things a little bit confusing. And he's seeing this one girl, and it's clearly a sugar baby situation. And then he cuts her off, and I watched her fall in love with him. Like it was real. Like because she was cut off from this situation, the context of the relationship changed because he cut her off. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like the takeaway caused an actual emotional pang, and she was legitimately in love with this dude who started off being in charge because he was rich. Have you ever seen something like that?
I just saw a video about this actually. It's called like the piggy bank theory or the penny theory or something. It was so interesting. It was like so a guy it was really directed at love bombing, but it was similar concept. So a guy will start by love bombing, giving 100%.
Sure.
and then all of a sudden he'll pull back 10%.
Yeah, this is intermittent positive reinforcement. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this with money, but you're talking about this with like emotional validation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
Well, part of love bombing is gift giving and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think it could be applied the same. Like, so just to make sure it's the same one, right? So the guy starts with 100%, pulls back 10%. The girl goes, you don't love me like you used to, you're 10% less. So then he gives 5% more. She feels like it's a 5% increase, but the truth is it's a 5% decrease because he's only at 95. Then he drops to 85, goes up to 90, all the way until he's given nothing anymore. And the girl is fully feeling like, like obsessed and like, give me more.
This is also the mechanism that gambling causes addiction. So the way it works is they do this with rodents, and they've done it with primates before, or they've actually done it with birds, where they put birds in a cage, and they would push a button and then food would come out. Then they push a button and then food would come out. In one cohort, what would happen is they would push a button for the 100 times and food would come out, and then it would stop coming out. And once that happened, they immediately got off of it because the inputs, the stimulus made sense. In the other group, what would happen is they would go like 10 and the food would come out, and then 2 it wouldn't, and then 3 it would, and then 4 it wouldn't, and then 3 it would. And what would happen is these people you saw situations where like rats were sitting there pushing the button until they would die, like to exhaustion. You would see, and like no matter, you'd go 100 clicks with no food coming out, and they would still keep clicking forever because of this very powerful, almost like I don't know what the word I'm looking for, glitch in the Homo sapien brain, which is this thing called intermittent positive reinforcement, which causes people to be affected by love bombing, and for things like like gambling has a negative EV, right? But yet millions of people do it, and the reason why is because of that intermittent positive reinforcement. I'm just curious. This is another thing because I do have some specific questions for you, but I've been doing a bunch of these debates, and having the two of you here just makes me think about this. There is a double standard, and I'm aware that there's a double standard, whereas if Mickey were to sleep with 500 women and you were to sleep with X amount of men, you are judged completely differently than he is.
absolutely.
Right? You understand that?
Yeah.
And if he were to sleep with 500 and you were a girl and you were interested in him, would you care?
Not really. Not the way a guy would care.
And would you care if you had a long-term female partner and would you care about how many partners she had?
A sexual partner? If she was only a sexual partner?
No, she's going to move in with you. You have financial ties. You're paying for her life.
Partner.
Yes, emotional ties.
Yeah, I care. Yeah.
You would care. And what's a number for you, just out of curiosity?
The truth is, since middle school, I've never asked a girl. I stopped asking a girl her body count before the term body count was what was used.
For sure, yeah.
I don't think about it. I don't have a number. I never even thought about it.
But it could still affect you mentally if there's too much.
Yeah, well, I don't want to ask questions that I don't want the answers to.
For sure.
So I've never asked any of my girls, but I'm sure there's definitely a number where I would have to reflect on that.
The thing is, so the guy who wrote the book behind me, Evolutionary Psychology textbook, Dr. Buss, he does a study, and he studies 37 different cultures that have nothing to do with each other. So Inuit Indians and Aboriginals and people from the Amazon and people from Norway, Sweden, Mexico, all these different places, Africa. And they survey all the women, and they say, do you care more about a man's ability to acquire resources? And women care about 100% more than men do. Like that's like a 200% average.
Meaning we care about their body count?
No. Women care more about a man's ability to acquire resources. Their necessity to care for it is 100% greater. So it's 200% of the total number. And then men's necessity to care about a woman's, in the original survey it was virginity, but later on it was just like low body count because virginity in Western society is just not very common. The men started to care less and less in certain societies. Like for instance, in China, maybe 40 years ago, it was very, very important virginity. Now, not so much. And places that were more egalitarian, like Sweden, Norway, and Finland, virginity was men did not care about it at all. In fact, it was very strange. A Norwegian woman who found out that a man was a virgin past 25, it was a very, very strange indicator to him. It wasn't like a positive sign. It was a negative one. So in all these situations, women cared more about a man's ability to acquire resources. Men cared more about a woman's body count, and women cared more about a man's ability to acquire resources. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they had nothing to do with each other, which meant all of this is genetic. Do you guys understand? Like you're born this way. And the reason why I bring this up because you two are friends, and there's this clear dichotomy in the way you guys approach dating.
I think in response to she doesn't care if her partner at 500, but I would, right?
Yeah.
Well, part of that also has to do with when a woman looks at a man, I believe, because they're looking at the ability to acquire resources. One of them is he successful? Can he accomplish goals? Yeah. Is he sought after? Can he accomplish things? So if you can for a man to sleep with 500 women is hard. A man can't sleep with everybody they want. They can only sleep with those who want to sleep with him.
Yes.
But a woman can sleep with any man that she wants because they all are willing to sleep with her.
Yeah.
Right? So for me to sleep with 500 women, which by the way is rookie numbers, let's pump those up a little bit. But for me to sleep with, whatever amount of women it is each one of those is an accomplishment, because just because I see a woman want to sleep with her doesn't mean I can. I only can if she wants to.
Isn't it weird the way you're saying this? Like, if there's going to be probably some ladies who hear this and are like, 500 women is not an accomplishment. That's gross. But like the men who are listening are like, that was a lot of work in order to do that. Like, there's a lot. I'm not talking about from a moralistic standpoint. You could make the argument that one man sleeping with 500 women leaves a large group of men at the bottom of the short-term sexual marketplace with no women at all, which causes violence in society. You could make a moralistic argument that one dude sleeping with 500